Okay. So welcome everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy almost Earth Day, or happy Earth Day. It's coming up soon. My thought for you, the pose for tonight is Hanumanasana, because it is Hanuman season. So Hanuman's birthday was last week. And because this is the season when it is Hanuman's birthday, is pretty much everyone in Bhakti yoga world starts talking about the Ramayana, because you can't help it, right? It's Hanuman season. You talk about Hanuman. You talk about Hanuman, you talk about the Ramayana. And the Ramayana is really this fantastic story about what it means to bring the energy of the soul into embodiment, like what that means. And where it gets confusing for us on our levels, because we're always looking at it from the limited view of an embodied mind, is we think that the soul is this like very far away sort of experience that we can be told about, but we don't have a clear sense of like what it actually means to live as that. So even though yoga tells us that that's what we are and that we can live that way, our minds don't know how to do it. So we have this kind of weird dual personality thing in yoga where we're like, well, there's my soul self, and then there's this self that's doing something else. And the Ramayana is a story about bringing those two realities together, right? Of being able to be aware of what it's like to have that infinite openness of your soul that just knows what it is and what its existence is really all about, and to see how that moves in the avenues that are available on earth, right? To move in those avenues that are available in this shared experience. So Hanuman is that energy that is meant to give us the opportunity to reunite, to let your mind understand that it doesn't have to go beyond itself to understand the soul, but the soul is actually what empowers your mind, right? The soul is what allows the mind to do the incredible things that it can do. And if that relationship is there in you, where the mind doesn't think that it's going to be threatened by the soul, then there can be a unity there, right? But that becomes part of our practice, because at various points, especially in meditation and things like that, as we come into that resistance where the mind says, don't make me disappear because you want something better, because you want something different, don't make me disappear. And really what we're looking for in meditation is not for the mind to disappear, but for it to be so open that that openness of the soul is reflected through the mind. Right? So it's that coming together and knowing that the mind and the soul have always been one, and to allow the mind to really be that focusing tool for the energy of the soul to move in this world, right? So the experience of being in an earthly embodiment is tough for us because we think too much about what it should be. And so we don't give ourselves the chance to feel what it actually could be, right? The full potential of it. So Hanuman is your inspiration for letting yourself come into a relationship with yourself where you're not fighting with you, right? And Hanumanasana as a pose, of course, what do? Our mind fights with our body to try and figure out how to do this big split position. So that's what I'm asking you to do as we go through the practice, is to not fight with yourself in Hanumanasana, right? That's an opportunity to be coming into a better understanding of how you work together, body and mind. And that when that starts to become clear, the soul naturally shines through that. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to reach for anything else. It just flows through that, right? So not struggling with yourself, that is the practice. So comfortable seat, if you're not there already, let the eyes close. What I love very much about Hanuman as a character, as a representation, is that as well as devotion, is we use him as a way of understanding courage. This has been coming up in conversations with my daughter a lot, that courage is when you are scared and you continue to live anyway, right? Bravery is when you're scared or you don't like something, you want to run away, and you engage with it anyway. Even knowing that you want to run, you engage. And so this is that practice of the mind might be scared of what we call the infiniteness of the self. And it's okay to be scared, but engage with it anyway. So that that fear is not something that locks you into an existence that is forever limited. So we let fear be the place or the opportunity where we open again. So just find yourself in a moment dropping out of that space of the mind, drop down deeper, maybe to the heart, drop down deeper to the belly, drop down deeper all the way to the base of your spine. That feeling of being anchored into this physical form instead of always in that tense state of trying to get out. Drop in. And I think if we can learn to do that, just learn to drop in without trying to tense and get out of here, no more work needs to be done. One more breath to drop in as deep as you can. As you exhale, bring the hands together in front of the heart, palm to palm. And we'll open sound of Om. Take a deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, bring your hands to your knees or your thighs. You're staying in a seated position, and then begin to cat-cow your spine. So as you inhale, lifting the chest up, drawing the elbows back. So you have that sensation of not just trying to push the ribs forward, but using the arms to traction. And then as you exhale, keep the arms really nice and long, nice and straight as you drop the chin in towards your chest and around into your back ribs. And then keep moving between your arms forward and back. Letting the spine find its lengthening, letting your pelvis tilt forward and back. Good. It's kind of nice to do cat and cow seated because you can feel maybe a little bit more clearly how your pelvis is tilting or how your pelvis is not tilting. Because we want there to be a freedom in the pelvis in order for big split poses like Hanumanasana to occur. If the pelvis is really stuck and tight, it's going to be very difficult to make that split position. So people tend to hyper focus on their hamstrings for a Hanumanasana and then get frustrated that, oh, my hamstrings just aren't getting any looser. It's like, well, because your hamstrings are attached to your pelvis. So if your pelvis is tight, locks up your hamstrings. If your low back is tight, locks up your hamstrings. If your middle back, upper back is super tight, it's going to lock up your hamstrings. So finding where there can be freedom in the lower body, whole lower body, is what we're looking for. Good. Next, exhale, where you come into that rounded position, pause for a moment. And in that rounded position, pull your armpits up. So you're still really rounded through your back, navel is drawn in, but get yourself to get taller in that rounding. That's it. And then draw the shoulders nice and wide, lift through the back of your throat, and then start to stack your shoulders directly on top of where your rib cage is in that rounded position. So don't let the ribs come forward. Just draw your shoulders back to stack on top of your ribs and then lift the throat, lift the head in line with where your ribs are. So not pushing forward, keeping that roundness in your middle back. Nice. Stretch your arms out wide, letter T. Take the right arm on top of the left. Wrap the forearms like you would for eagle. Good. And then inhale, stretch the elbows up just a little higher. Exhale, curl and round in. Bring the elbows in towards your ribs. Good. And then inhale, come up again, lifting the elbows up on the inhale. Exhale, curl all the way in, round. Good. And then inhale, come up, lifting the elbows just a little higher. And then exhale, curl and round. One last time on this side. Good. And then release, stretching the arms all the way out and wide. Good. Reach all the way out. So extend that right arm out like you're reaching for triangle. So move your ribs wide and then let that right hand touch down to the floor. Take the left arm over the ear. So your side stretching. Let that right elbow continue to bend. All right. So as the elbow bends, you're dropping your weight towards that hand, letting the left side of your waist really stretch, push down through your left butt cheek. Yeah. Beautiful. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Arms out wide. letter T, and then reach to the left. So again, move your rib cage laterally. So you're moving your ribs as your seat stays steady, and then let that left hand touch down as far away from your hip as it can go. And then bring the right arm over the ear, bending the left elbow, letting yourself drop into the side stretch. Good. Keeping your right butt cheek pressing down, and bend that left elbow. Don't hold the floor away. Let yourself drop in. There's going to be more sensation from doing that, but you can handle it. That's the thing, is our mind is always like, but what if I go too far and I can't handle it? You'll handle it. Good. Come all the way back up. This is our thing, is we're afraid of feeling too much. Arms wide, letter T. Left arm comes on top of right. Wrap the forearms, which would be the other side of your eagle arms. If it's not, switch them. Inhale, lift the elbows a little higher. Exhale, curl and round. Bring the elbows all the way down and in. Good. Then inhaling back up, stretch the elbows a little higher, stretch the shoulders. Exhale, curl and bow in. Bring the elbows in towards the belly. Good. And one last time, lifting the elbows a little higher on the inhale, and then exhale, drawing down and in. Pull in towards that belly center. Good. And then come all the way back up. Release the arms all the way out. Good. And then go ahead and release the hands down. Come forward onto hands and knees. You got it. Good. And then tuck your toes, please. Lift your hips, come into downward facing dog. Nice. Pedal your feet if that's something you like. It's hard not to like that. And go ahead and pedal your feet. Beautiful. And then steady your heels, please. Take the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bend the knee, kick your heel in, and then stack the right hip on top of the left. So open, keep your left low belly lifted and wide. You got it. Good. And then point that knee back down towards the floor, please. Then bring the knee forward towards your belly, but keep your hips lifted in down dog. Yeah, so don't bring your shoulders forward, Merle. Just keep your hips up. Good. Squeeze that thigh forward though. Good. And then take the leg all the way up and back behind you. Bend the knee again, kick the heel in, stack the right hip on top of the left. Lift up through that left armpit, left low belly. Good. Point the knee back down towards the floor, please. And then bring that knee forward towards your chest, but keep your hips pushing up and back. So you're really working the top of that thigh back in space. Nice, Tina. And then stretch the right leg all the way back and up one more time. Good. And then go ahead and take that right foot forward between the hands. Lunge. Beautiful. Drop the back knee. Use a blanket there if you'd like. Inhale both arms to the sky. Untitled. Good. Take your hands to the front thigh, interlacing your fingers. Push the thigh away, round into your back. So as you push that thigh forward, you're moving your belly back. You're moving the top of that left thigh, your back thigh up. So press your butt up and back just a little bit. Nice. And now again, stretch the arms up alongside your ears, stacking your shoulders on top of where your ribs are when your back is rounded. And then you can open the armpits a little wider, lift your chest a little higher without pushing the ribs forward. You can just keep lifting and extending back, 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 back. Nice. And then pull all the way back up. Release your hands down to the floor or to blocks alongside that front foot. Lift your back knee. And then without moving your back foot, just start to straighten the front leg. So again, if you have to have blocks under your hands here, use them because it's going to give you the chance to straighten that front leg even more. Good. So back heel stays lifted. Really pull your hips way up. Good. And then press through the big toe mound of your front foot. Take that left hip and spin it forward more. So you can drag that right thigh crease up and back. Beautiful. And then bend your right knee back to a lunge. Inhale, both arms up to the sky, high lunge. Keep your back thigh kicking up a little higher here. You got it. Take your hands behind your head, elbows wide. Good. Let your elbows come slightly forward. Press your head back into your hands. And again, drawing the ribs back, round into your rib cage just a little. And then start to take your sternum up towards the ceiling as you drop your head back into your hands. Good. Keep drawing the ribs in. And then stretch your arms straight alongside your ears into that back bend, any amount. Keep lifting through your chest and taking your armpits back. Yeah. And then all the way back up to center. Release the hands down to the floor or blocks. Straighten your front leg again. Good. So you're still pulling that back heel up really high, pulling your hips up really high, and then push through the big toe mound of your front foot. Good. Left hip spins forward. That's it. So this is already working the awareness of the pelvis of trying to find square while your legs are split. And then bend the right knee again. Walk your hands forward. You can keep your blocks if you'd like. Step up to standing split. Left thigh parallels the floor. Good. Look towards your belly button. So drop your head, round into your shoulders, round into your back. Pull everything up, 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 up. And then turn that left hip forward and down. Yeah. Nice, you guys. And then bend your left knee, kick your heel in towards your butt. Press your heel straight up towards the ceiling. Your back is still rounded, so keep your head dropped. Yeah, and just work that lift of that back thigh. Beautiful. Nice, 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 you guys. Kick it up higher. Yep. Awesome. And now take the leg to straight. Press out through the heel and feel yourself squeezing both feet towards each other, even though one foot is on the ground. Good. And then release that left foot back and down to the floor. Nice long lunge and step back to downward facing dog. That was one side. Good. Come forward to plank pose, upward push up. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Good. Rise up cobra, lifting head, neck, and chest. Awesome. And then release, please. Downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, lift the hips. Really good. Left leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, stack the left hip on top of the right. Good. Keep that right low belly lifted and wide. Squeeze your right heel in. Good. Bring that left knee to face down to the floor and then pull that thigh forward, knee towards your belly, but keep your hips pressing up and back. So don't take it all the way forward towards plank. Keep your hips up and down dog. Good, and then extend that leg back and up behind you again. Bend the knee, heel in towards your butt. Stack left hip on top of right. Keep that right low belly and hip lifted and wide. Good, and then point the knee down towards the floor. Bring the knee forward towards your belly, but again, push your hips back. So again, we're really working to soften that area of the pelvis. Stretch your left leg back and up behind you. Nice job. And then left foot comes forward between the hands. Left. Drop the back knee, use a blanket if you'd like, Untitled, arms to the sky. Good. I'd like you to find the way that you usually come into Untitled first so that you can recognize how much there is that tendency to push forward through the front of your pelvis, which shortens your low back, and to push forward through the ribs, which shortens the rest of your back. So take your hands down to your front thigh, push the thigh away and round into your back. Pull the belly away from the top of your thigh, move your ribs back, and then you can let your knee come forward over the ankle, but keep that feeling of rounding back. And now where your ribs are right where they are, take your arms up alongside your ears without pushing the ribs forward. Lift your chest up a little higher and find your back bend from here. Move your armpits back behind your hips and then lift the back of your throat. Sternum to the sky, lean back. Don't let your ribs pop forward. Nice, Taylor. Armpits wider. That's it. Press into that front heel. Awesome, you guys. Come all the way back up. Nice. Release the hands down to the floor. You're like, I can't come back up. Lift your back knee. And then without moving that back foot, straighten your front leg. So again, blocks underneath the hands here are a great idea. Good. And with the legs straight, you're pulling your hips as high as you can. Bring that right hip, spin it forward so you get more space in the front of that left hip joint. That's the whole point. You square the pelvis so that that left side hip has more space. Good, and press through that big toe mound of the front foot because probably your weight is going towards the baby toe. Bend your left knee again, bring it over the ankle. Inhale, both arms to the sky, come into high lunge. Good, and then bring the hands back behind the head, elbows wide. Let the elbows come slightly in so you're not hyperextending through your armpits. So bring the elbows in hollow and then round again into your middle back. Good. And then with that roundness, start to lift your sternum up. Let your head fall back into your hands, but point your heart towards the sky. So again, the back bend is coming almost from the top of your pelvis. You're pulling up. Armpits back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good. And then come stretch the arms alongside your ears, reach for the wall behind you or whatever happens to be in the world behind you. And then come all the way back up. Really nice, Susan or Alpina. And then release the hands down to the floor. Good. Again, use blocks if you need. Straighten your front leg back to that long-legged stretch. Pull your hips up, but then turn that right hip forward. And you can totally pull the back heel as high as it can go so that you can really exaggerate that lift of the hips and then get that space between your low belly and the top of your thigh. That's what we want to decompress here. Good, and then press into that big toe mound of the left foot so you're really engaging the inner edge of the leg. Nice, and then bend your left knee, please. Walk your hands forward. Again, you can keep your blocks if you'd like. Step up to standing split. Right thigh comes parallel to the floor. And then again, drop your head, round your back. So as you're rounding into your ribs, turn that right hip down and forward. Lift that left side low belly up off of your thigh. Yeah, I usually say that if you feel now an excruciating amount of sensation on your left outer hip and butt, you are doing this absolutely right. Good. And if it's not excruciating, you're still probably doing it right as long as you feel something. Nice, you guys. Bend your right knee, keep your heel in, and then start to press that foot straight up towards the ceiling. Keep the knee pointing down, but don't let those hips roll open. Nice, nice, nice. Push it up, push it up, push it up. Yes. And then extend the leg to straight as high as it currently is. Just extend out, push, and squeeze the feet towards each other. Yeah. And then go ahead and bend your standing knee, step all the way back to a nice long lunge. Come back to downward facing dog. Oh my God. Nice job. Come forward to plank pose. Lower down slow to your belly. Good. Bend your knees, please. Keep your heels in towards your butt. Hands planted alongside your ribs. Lift up into cobra with the knees bent. So press down through the tops of the knees. And then lift up head, neck, and chest. And feel yourself pulling your low belly in. So it's like you're trying to lift your butt slightly towards your heels. Yeah, and then draw your ribs back and in, and then lift the sternum forward and up and squeeze those elbows back. Nice. And then slowly release, please. Good. Press yourself up to hands and knees and come back to child's pose. Knees nice and wide. Hips back to your heels. Class is over. Class is over. We're just going to skip the actual Hanumanasana. That was enough. I mean, it is sort of Hanuman's quality as well that he is tireless, right? Whatever needs to be done, he always has the will and the drive to do it. Even when he has no idea what he's doing, right? It's one of those classic scenes in the Ramayana, one of the favorites. Walk your torso to the right, please, over your right thigh, where they're on the battlefield in this final, like, cataclysmic battle between good and evil, and the bad guys, you know, use this cheap trick where they poisoned everybody. And so they need this special herb to get everybody back online. And, you know, they send Hanuman to go get it. And they're like, okay, so it's this kind of flower. It looks like this. It's got these kind of leaves. Like, it's on this mountain. Like, go find it. Come back to center and walk to your left. And so he goes off, as Hanuman does, flying through the air, and he finds the mountain. And of course he gets there. And he's like, okay, they said it's a what? What color was it? Oh God, I don't know. So he just takes the whole top of the mountain. Because he doesn't know what it is. So he's like, I don't know, it's one of these. So he just takes the whole top of the mountain with him all the way back to the battlefield. He's like, here, which one? Right? You don't think about what you can't do. You'll do things that you couldn't imagine, right? You don't have to know if you're doing it right. You just have to care. You have to care to try. Come back to center. Okay. And then walk your hands all the way back in. Bring your hands to your hips. Come up into a high kneeling position. So preparing for gait pose. So stretch your right leg out wide to the right. Heel in line with your left knee. Good. Foot to the floor for this variation. So foot flat if you can. And then arms are out wide, letter T. Let your right arm extend out to the right as though, again, you're coming into that triangle position. So don't just slide it down the leg, but extend all the way out so that you have to feel that side waist. Yes, you're going towards the extended leg. So you have to really feel your side waist stretch. Now let that right hand touch down to the right leg. Stretch your left arm over the ear. And remember that first side stretch, the idea is to let that right arm soften, let the elbow bend so that you're really letting yourself drop into that full extension, the full stretch. Good. Keep your legs squeezing towards each other. Awesome. Come all the way back up to center, please. And then release your hands forward. Walk your hands straight out in front of you so you're in like a weird down dog position. Good. Don't let your hips come all the way back to your heel. Nice. But do press into your hands and see if you can lift your left low belly up and wide and let that right inner thigh rotate forward and in towards the floor. So it's like you're trying to actually level your pelvis. You have no idea if you're doing it or not. Try your best. Nice. You got it. Just the concept of trying to roll that right thigh in and lift your left low belly is going to do a lot. Good. Walk yourself all the way back in. Take your hands back up to your hips. Same leg is extended, so don't move that right leg. But now you're going to come up on the heel. So turn your toes up towards the ceiling. That might mean that you have to move that foot slightly forward so that it's not back behind your hip point. So if you need to move your leg forward, move it forward. And then stretch the arms out and wide. And again, leaning out, extend out towards that right leg. Let the hand touch down towards wherever it lands on the leg. Left arm up over the ear. Good. And this time with the left arm, bend the elbow, place the hand behind your head. And then again, draw back into your ribs, press your head back into your hand, rotate your left armpit open more. So you don't have to lean more, you just have to open more. That's it. And then come all the way back up. Beautiful. Now you can release right knee to the floor underneath you and take the left leg out and wide. Foot flat for this one, so whatever angle the toes come to for that. Let the foot be flat. Arms out wide. And then extend, reach the left rib cage as long as you can. Again, like you're coming into that triangle pose. Let the left hand touch down to the left leg, right arm over the ear. Good. And let yourself drop in. Part of this practice, especially the physical practice, is to learn not to be afraid of sensation. Not to be afraid of what it feels like to be in a physical body that, yeah, feels aches and pains and limitations. Not be afraid of your mind that feels emotions. But in order to not be afraid of it, we have to feel it and then engage with it through our fear of how unfamiliar it is. Come all the way back up to center. Good. Release the hands in front of you. Walk yourself forward into that modified downward dog position. And again, you're rolling that left inner thigh in and back and drawing the right low belly up and wide. And then noticing that you've twisted your ribs to try and make that happen. So lift your left rib cage back up. Yeah. Nice, you guys. And don't worry if you're not doing it perfectly. Again, the Hanuman moment is to realize that perfection is not the purpose, right? The devotion has nothing to do with perfection. That his invincibleness and the power that he has is that he does things as it's presented to him. He works with the world as it is. And it doesn't matter to him if it works, if it happens the way that he thought that it should, as long as the people he cares about, the things he cares about, are preserved, protected, taken care of. Walk yourself back into things. So letting go of perfection is huge in Hanuman. Good. Come up on that left heel now. And again, adjust if you need to, moving that foot slightly forward so that your hip bones, hip points are still in line with each other. And then extend that left arm, that left rib cage nice and wide. Let the left hand touch down to the leg, take the right arm over the ear. So here with the being up on the heel, you might feel that there's a lot more pressure behind your knee. So feel like you're squeezing and dragging that heel back and in. So the back of your knee stays just a little bit soft. Good. And then right arm, bend the elbow, place the hand behind your head, look in towards your ribs just a little bit so you get rounded, and then start to lift the back of your throat again and open the right armpit wider towards the ceiling. Nice, Merle. Nice, Dina. Good, you got it. Nice, good, you guys. And then slowly come all the way back up. Beautiful. Release the hands, release that leg back to hands and knees. You got it. And then come back to downward facing dog. Good. Step the right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Drop the back knee, use a blanket underneath the knee if you'd like. Anjaneyasana, take the arms up to the sky. I know I've said it when we're working with this pose, but this pose is named for Hanuman's mother. So isn't that appropriate? Deep breath in. Let your elbows go wide to the cactus arm. So as you're leaning back, lifting your chest, bend the elbows and feel yourself again, cupping the elbows forward as you let your palms fall back. You let your armpits fall back. Nice. And then come all the way back up, stretching the arms up to the sky, pull through your waist, and then exhale, release hands down to the floor. Really good. Lift the back knee, please. Step your left foot forward just a little bit here so that you can take both legs to straight with the feet flat, Badakanasana. And again, use blocks if you'd like. Make sure that your feet are as wide as your hips are, right and left. Good. And again, curl into your belly, let your head hang for a moment so that you can really turn that left hip forward and find that lift to your right low belly. Good. And again, when you find square in this position, the first million times is you are convinced that it absolutely has to be wrong. So if you remember being adjusted in this position, or you are currently being adjusted, and you're like, no way is that square. No way is that level. It's okay that your mind thinks that it's wrong. Just recognize that your mind is the one that's confused. Press that big toe mound down towards the floor. So again, you anchor through that inner edge of the leg. Awesome. And then come up on your fingertips a little bit more, or up on your blocks, and come up on the front heel. So lift the toes up off of the floor and drag down and back like you're sucking that thigh bone up and into your pelvis. So you have to hollow your low belly. So it's not just your legs doing the work, it's hollow your entire lower belly and pull that leg up and back. Like you're gonna push your butt to the wall behind you. Yes. Nice, you guys. Good, and then keep that feeling, but let your foot come flat to the floor again. Press down through the big toe mound. Excellent. Nice, you guys. Bend the right knee, please. Step your left foot forward, top of your mat. Bend both knees, drop your belly onto your thighs, wrap the arms around the backs of the legs. Good, widen your inner knees just a little bit. Scoop into your low belly, and then start to press your hips up towards the sky as you press down into your heels. Good, coming into that standing forward fold. Excellent. And then with that same energy of your legs, just let your hands come down to the floor, lift up onto your fingertips, lift your shoulders higher to bring your spine longer, pull your armpits away from your hips, and then pull that low belly up away from your thighs again, and then extend your armpits forward more. And then do that again, pull your low belly up away from your thighs, and then lift your chest forward, extend even more. Nice. Beautiful. And then keep that feeling through your low belly, and now drop your head, bow deeply in, take your hands to the backs of your calves. Yep. So your calf muscles, so the lower leg. And then feel yourself squeezing in and dragging up. And again, let the head drop, scoop into your belly, let yourself fold really deeply here, drawing your head towards your shins. Excellent. And then release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Right leg steps back behind you. Nice long lunge. Good. Drop that knee down to the floor. Untitled. This should be the second side. If not, let me know. Arms to the sky. Good. Nice, you guys. And again, watching that you're not just pushing the pelvis forward, but that you're actually moving your whole pelvis as one piece forward, and then drawing the ribs back, lifting the chest. Good. Bend the elbows wide, come into cactus arms as you start to tilt your sternum up towards the ceiling. And let your armpits fall back. Yeah, let your palms fall back. Nice, Susan. Really good, you guys. Good. Let your pelvis move forward, not because you're arching your back, but you're letting your whole set of hips come forward. Yeah. I was gonna say, let your hips come forward. So your whole pelvis, but not pushing forward. So you don't want the arch of the back. Stretch the arms all the way to straight. Sometimes the poetry eludes you. Come all the way back up, and then release the hands down to the floor, bringing your whole hips with you. Lift your back knee, please. Step the right foot forward just a little bit. Come into Badakanasana. You know, one of Hanuman's names, things that he's called is references him having a broken jaw. He's called Broken Jaw. And there's two versions of the story of how he gets the broken jaw. One of them is that he literally falls out of a tree. So a monkey falls out of a tree and breaks his jaw. Second one is that when he's very young, he sees the sun in the sky, the sun god, and thinks that it's a ripe mango and he wants to eat it. So he flies into the sky attempting to eat the god of the sun, who gets scared that, this monkey is flying at him, trying to knock him out of the sky. And so he strikes back, and Hanuman, falls to the ground and gets his jaw broken. The idea is that even if things don't go the way that you want them to, don't deny that you have the capabilities that you do. And don't let that be the reason why you don't try again. Maybe a little bit smarter, right? You recognize when something isn't what you thought it was. Press through that big toe mound, scoop into your belly here, you guys, really sending that outer right hip forward. And then lift up onto your fingertips or up onto blocks so your shoulders come a little higher. And then start to come up on that front heel. As you come up on the front heel, drag down and back. Nice. And hopefully you can feel a little bit that when you do that and you start to hollow the low belly as you're engaging the legs, is there's a softness that occurs at the top of your thigh where your thigh meets your pelvic bones, right? Right at that front of the hip. And that's what we want. We want there to be a softness as we move into Hanumanasana. If you go into it with harshness, with hardness in your legs, you're not going to get very far. You're going to hit resistance. So we got to get softer in the pelvis. Nice, you guys. Keep that same energy of drawing in and up through the thigh. Let the foot come back to the floor, pressing through the big toe mound. Really good. Awesome. And then bend the left knee, please. Step your right foot forward, back to the top of your mat. And again, bending your knees, dropping your belly onto your thighs, wrap the arms around the backs of your legs, widen the inner knees. Good. Scoop your belly. Let your head stay dropped, but push your hips up towards the sky to straighten your legs. Good. Keep widening your inner knees and feeling that stretch of lifting your tail up and pushing down through your heels. Really good. And then release the hands down to the floor or blocks here. Lift up onto your fingertips. Scoop into your low belly so you're pulling everything up away from your thighs. And then lift your collarbones up. Extend the spine, armpits forward. Nice. And then bow deeply again, keeping that lift through the low belly. Bring your hands to the backs of your calves. Good. And again, dragging up through that lower edge of the legs, push down into your heels. Feel your hips rising up and drag yourself in deeper. Scoop your belly and let your chest meet your knees. Good. Nice, you guys. And then release the hands down to the floor or blocks, please. Good. Bring your right leg up and back behind you into standing split right where you are. Slide that right leg up and back. Good. Press down to that left heel. Come up on the tippy toes of your left foot. So as you lift up onto the ball of your foot, you got to pull that thigh bone up and in again towards your belly. So hollow everything in. And then kick that right thigh up even higher. Nice. And then drop your chest, drop your head, but kick that thigh higher, 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 higher. As your head drops, your leg goes up. Like one of those little birds that tip into the water. Yeah. Good. And then bring that left heel flat to the floor, keeping that right leg kicked up. Oops, sorry, I knocked you over. Excellent. And then go ahead and step that right foot down to the floor, please. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let your lips go. There you go. And then try the other side. Take your left leg up and back. I know. It's a lot harder to come into standing split that way. We don't like it because it requires just a lot of work on the legs. Nice, you guys. Good. Come up on the tippy toes of your right foot. So lift that right heel up, scooping into your belly. So again, the point here is to feel that pulling up through the thigh bone. Good. And then letting the head drop as you kick your left thigh up and up and up and up and up. Good. And then keep pulling that right thigh bone up, because what your front leg is doing is empowering and giving space to what the back leg is doing. Really good. And then take that right heel flat to the floor, but keep feeling that feeling of pulling up into the hollowness of your low belly. Excellent. And then step your left leg way back behind you. Nice long lunge. Both hands come inside the front foot. Walk to your left until you come to the center of your mat. Prasarita Badakanasana. Truly is the mascot for this class. Oh, yeah. If you overwork your shoulders in standing split, notice how much you try to do the work of your legs in your upper back. Yeah. That's the thing, right? Tension is something that we like to say that we carry it in a certain place, but the reality is that we carry tension everywhere, right? If you have tension running through your body, it is hitting everything. Maybe it feels more concentrated in one area or another, but it is hitting everywhere. So we practice letting go, not just in the places that we notice the tension. We practice letting go of that place inside of us that says, I need to be tense. That's what we engage with. Where is it inside of me that says I need to be tense in order to get through this life? I need to protect myself from what is unfamiliar, including my own soul. So Hanuman, they say that he is the remover. You chant the Hanuman Chalisa and fear disappears from your life. Where there's real trust in who you are, what you are, then there's nothing to be afraid of. Walk your hands back in under your shoulders if they've moved further away. Let your right hand reach for your left ankle or shin. And take the left arm to the sky or to your lower back. Come into the twist. Good. Feeling a softness behind your knees and a widening of your inner thighs. Nice. And then go ahead and release that hand, come back to center, move to the other side, left hand to outer right ankle or shin, right arm to the sky or to your lower back. Again, lifting through that left low belly to keep that hip from getting really congested. So pull that left hip bone up and wide. Good. And then release the hand back down towards the floor. Really nice. Walk yourself back towards the top of your mat. Right toes turn forward. Step back to downward facing dog. Good. Take a deep breath in. And then lower down to your knees, please. Take a child's pose briefly. Yeah. Give yourself a moment to press into your shins, round into your low belly so that you get that full expansion across your lower back. I know we usually say that, we don't want child's pose to be an active pose, but if you don't engage in it, you don't get the maximum benefit. So you can rest in child's pose, or you can really hug your inner knees just a little bit, curl into your belly, and really feel space start to open up in the area around your sacrum. And then start to walk yourself back up, please. Go ahead and come onto your butt. Take your legs out in front of you. Right, use a blanket under your seat if you'd like. Right leg stays forward. Bend your left knee. Bring the bottom of the foot to the inside of your right thigh. Knee goes wide. Shavasana. Inhale the arms up alongside your ears. Take a little twist to your right and then bow over the right leg. You could use a strap here if you'd like around the foot. Your mind going crazy, wondering why I stopped talking. We also forget to actually be in the position that we're in. We forget to actually feel sensation because our mind is so busy reacting to what we think that we're going to feel and then moving on to the next thing, trying to anticipate. But to actually just feel what you're feeling is itself the practice. Not be running to anything else. Walk yourself all the way back up, please. Switch the legs. Take your left leg straight out in front of you. Bend the right knee. Bring the bottom of the foot to the inside of the left leg. Let your knee go wide. Then inhale the arms up to the sky, a little twist to your left, bow over the extended leg. Again, you can use a strap around the foot if you like. Make sure that your toes are not falling significantly in or out. You want your toes to be kind of straight up and down so that you know that your thigh bone is in as neutral a rotation in your hip socket as it can be. The entire story of the Ramayana is about characters who have divine origin, right? Hanuman is the son of the wind god. Ram is a direct incarnation of Vishnu. Sita is Lakshmi, right? These divine beings are stuck in or caught in the challenges of what it is to be human. And so even though it's described as a story of perfection, right, that Ram is considered to be the perfect man, the perfect husband, the perfect king, and Hanuman is the perfect devotee, and Sita is the perfect wife and perfect, woman, all of those things, is when you look at the events that actually unfold, you're like, this is perfection? It's a freaking mess. And that's the point, is for us to realize that the perfection is not about how it unfolds. The perfection is the being that is experiencing that unfolding. We get caught up in being scared of how it's unfolding, and we don't really reach that full potential. We don't even look for it. Walk yourself all the way back up. So your perfection is supposed to be messy. Lesson of Hanuman. Stretch both legs out in front of you. Good. Take a deep breath in. Good. Reach forward, Hanumanasana, reaching for both feet, or again, using your strap around the feet if you'd like. Press down into your heels, drag back so your knees bend just a little bit in your Paschimottanasana. And continue to hold your feet or your ankles. Good. Drag back on your arms. So it's like you're pulling your arms into your shoulders, lifting your chest forward. Good. Subtle bend to the knees so that you can send your butt back and feel that fold happen at the front of your thigh bones, front of your pelvis. Good. One more breath. Extend the heart forward. And then exhale, slowly release. Come on up. Scoot yourself forward so you can lay back on your mat, all the way on your back. Yeah, it doesn't matter which way you're facing. Just come onto your back. And then draw the right knee in towards your chest. Left leg stays extended. Good. And then turn that right shin parallel to your chest. So move the right knee a little wider, and then take your left hand to the baby toe edge of your foot. So it's like you're doing pigeon lying on your back. Good. Keep your left thigh rooted down, foot flexed. Flex your right foot as well. Push that foot into your hand that's holding it, and then press your knee wide into the hand that is on the outside of the knee. So the right hand is there. Use it like a pretend wall. So just on the outside of the leg, push your knee wide out to the side. So you're not angling it away from your belly. You're not pushing the knee away. You're pushing it sideways into your hand and give your hand resistance. Good. Nice, you guys. Taking that shin up towards the chest any amount. And then a deep breath in, optional as you exhale, lift your shoulders up like you're going to bring your your shin towards your chest, or your chest up to meet your chin. Keep that left thigh rooting down. Nice. Really good, Susan. Good, Tina. Nice, Maral. You got it. Release the shoulders back down. Please squeeze the right knee directly in towards the chest. Hug. And then move the right knee wide towards the armpit again. Reach with the right hand for the foot or the ankle. Come into half happy baby. Stack the heel on top of the knee. Left thigh roots down to the floor. Good. Keep your left hip rooted. So you want to put more weight on that, what you would call the supporting leg or the straight leg, instead of letting all of your attention go into that right hip that's working. Good. Let your elbow, if it's inside the knee, push wide into your knee, and then feel your knee, your shin squeezing into your elbow. So engage that leg that's in the hip stretch. Good. Secret to Hanuman is that if you keep everything really engaged, it gets rid of that feeling that you're like a Barbie doll with the legs about to be popped off. Stay engaged. It won't feel so bad. Squeeze the right knee back in towards your chest. I know, a weird image, but you all knew exactly what I meant. And then extend that right leg down to the floor. Bring your left knee in towards your chest. I know we got to do both because right now your legs feel like they belong to two different people.
Yes.
Good. Reach with your right hand for the left foot. Turn your shin so you're in that pigeon variation on your back. And then again, you're lifting the shin into whatever angle works best for you. So you, again, don't have to pull it anywhere, but this gives you the chance to really let the knee stay wide and to have your hand, your left hand, to the outside edge of your knee and push your knee wide to the left. Good. And then press your heel in towards your right hand. So again, it's like you're squeezing your hands towards each other and your leg happens to be in between. You got it. Nice, you guys. Right thigh stays rooted down to the floor. I know, it's gotta rotate just a little bit. Good. And then again, as you inhale, optional here, exhale, lift your chest up, like you're bringing your shin towards your heart towards your shin. Scoop into your low belly as you do that. Nice. And then slowly release the shoulders, please. Hug the left knee back and towards the chest, straight for a breath. And then bring the knee wide again. Reach with the left hand for the foot or the ankle. Come into half happy baby, stacking that heel on top of the knee. Good. Bending that left elbow, press the elbow wide into your knee and then feel that knee squeezing in towards the elbow. So again, you get that engagement through the inner thigh, engagement through the outer hip, the groin. Nice. Good, and then release, hugging the knee in towards your chest. Great job. Stretch both legs up to the sky, straight up. Wow. I know, flex your feet. Good, start with the heels in line with your hips. Nice, press the arms down so that you have the engagement of the upper body. Draw the ribs down, keep your low belly engaged. And now keep your right leg up, let your left leg come down towards the floor. Let it hover just an inch or two above the floor. And without using your hands, start to pull that right thigh up towards your chest. So come into that like freeform split. Yeah. And then come all the way back up to center. Bring both legs back up to that 90-degree angle. Oh my God. Good. Now keep the left leg where it is, reaching up to the sky. Let the right leg come forward into the split and let it hover. Got to use your belly here. And then without your hands, pull your left thigh up in towards your chest. Don't use your neck to do this. And then bring both legs all the way back up towards the sky. Good. Bend your knees in towards your chest. Hug, roll around a little bit, maybe massage the lower back. If that felt hard to do, do it every day until it no longer feels so hard to do. Good. And then come back to stillness, please. Roll yourself forward all the way up to sit. Come forward onto hands and knees. Come back to downward facing dog. Almost completed your training. Good. Step the right foot forward between the hands, please. Drop the back knee. You can use a blanket underneath that knee if you'd like. Good. And then move your left hip back in space just a little bit so it's directly in line with that knee. Take your right leg forward to straight, come up on the heel. Ardha Hanumanasana, so Ha Hanuman. And just pause for a moment here, pressing down and dragging back on the heel. So you get that feeling of drawing the thigh bone up and in. So that suctioning, that hollowing of the low belly is happening. Feel as though, even though you're pressing down and back through your heel, push forward through the big toe mound of your foot. So your toes are really awake and you're pushing forward through the big toe mound. That's probably going to make it feel like the outer edge of your thigh just had to wake up. Good. Now remember all of that. Start to wiggle that heel forward just a little bit. Tuck your back toes and lift your back knee up off the floor. So you're in a hovering split. Good. Yep. Move that left leg back even further more. Yep. Good, 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 good. So you got to still squeeze your legs towards each other here. Lift your chest up as high as you can. And then imagine here just letting your pelvis drop down to the floor. Keep letting your heels slide away from each other as your pelvis drops down towards the floor. But keep squeezing the legs in. And just let your whole pelvis with both your set of hips go down towards the floor. Take one more breath with your chest up. Squeeze your legs. Beautiful. Beautiful. And now the same way you got down, come up, push down into your hands, scoop your belly, squeeze your feet towards each other. You got it, Lindsay. And then step back to downward facing dog. You almost had it. That's it. Nice, you guys. I used to joke and say there's no graceful way out of Hanuman, and I stopped saying it because it isn't true. Is we get lazy coming out of Hanuman because we're like, oh, that was so much work. You're not done until you're out of the pose. Stay engaged until you're out of the pose. Yeah, left leg steps forward between the hands. Drop your back knee. Use a blanket underneath the knee if you'd like. Start in half Hanuman, so move your right hip back in line with your knee. Take the left leg forward up onto the heel. And again, not trying to push into full Hanuman yet. Let yourself stay in that preparation position. Drive down through the heel, pull back so you get that hollowing through your pelvis. Again, your pelvis is what really makes this pose easier or harder. Good. And then once you've got that, push through the big toe mound of your front foot. So again, you've got that sensation of using the inner edge of the leg. Nice. And now let that left heel slide forward a little bit further. Bring your hands with you. And then tuck your back toes, start to lift your back knee. You're going to be in a hovering split. Maybe you're really far away from the floor. But turn that right hip forward, lift your left low belly up off of your thighs. All the same stuff you've been doing all night. Just because this is a bigger split doesn't mean that you don't do that here. And then imagine your whole pelvis going straight down to the floor here. And just let your heels move away from each other far enough that your pelvis can keep going straight down. Lisa, you're perfect where you are. Don't make that face. Good. This is your split, right? It doesn't matter if you're close to the ground or not. And now if you want, you can take that back into the floor, let yourself feel that, see if that makes it feel better to you. But I promise you that staying really engaged in Hanuman, higher up away from the floor, is more valuable for your pelvis than getting stuck coming from the floor and thinking, I can't possibly go any further. Take one more deep breath, letting your pelvis drop any amount. Good, Taylor. And then go ahead, press into those hands, lift that back knee again, squeeze the feet towards each other. Again, you got to engage. Come all the way back out, back to downward facing dog. That wasn't much of a cheat, that was okay.
That was all right.
Yeah. Hanuman fell out of a tree. You're fine. Deep breath in. And then release the knees to the floor. Please do a little hip circling. Ay, ay, ay.
Is the beard to cover the perfect jaw?
No, the beard is just a representation of the fact that he is a monkey. So he has a little bit of a furry face, and also it's ancient India. Beards were a thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Move your hips in the other direction. You don't always see Hanuman with a beard, but he is a monkey, so he is meant to be kind of furry. What I love is that there is the representation. Drop yourself back into child's pose. There is the representation that the army that actually defeats the demons here is not a human army, it's monkeys.
I love it.
It's monkeys. These are the beings that defeat the demons and bring righteousness and goodness back into balance in the world. And we're meant to know that the monkeys are that representation of the monkey mind. Right? That they are that sort of elemental or subconscious or more the animalistic nature that we have as human beings that run through the mind when there's nothing to guide it. And Ram is that soul self, the capital S self, that comes in and unites this army of monkeys all together that says, hey, let's go do something incredible. And because of him, the monkey mind is focused. And because of him, the monkey mind is able to overcome the energies that are running amok. They're able to save the world. And most of those monkeys are also sons and daughters of the gods. Right? So if you think your monkey mind is just a mess maker, remember that it too is divine. It comes from that same place. And all it needs is that guiding presence of the soul to say, hey, let's go do something incredible. When Ram is not there, the monkeys spend a lot of time getting drunk and just messing around. And that's okay, they're monkeys. Your perfection is going to look messy because that's part of being embodied. Walk yourself back up, please. Nice, you guys. Start to find your way onto your backs. Heads facing center of the room if you're in the room with me. can bring a block with you if you have one. And then bend your knees, lift your hips, place a block underneath your sacrum into a supported bridge pose. Laughing to myself that I thought about using the strap more and then purposefully said no. Let your pelvis rest on the block and really let it rest. Right, drop your weight all the way onto that block. And maybe this is a moment where you say, do I always put the block in the lowest setting because I don't want to feel too much? And if that is the case, try turning your block one setting higher and see what that feels like. Hang out with it for a few breaths. Even if it's uncomfortable, hang out with the discomfort for a couple of breaths and see if it eases. And if it does, stay. And if it doesn't, be nice to yourself and go back to the lower setting. I said, if the discomfort doesn't ease in a couple of breaths, then be nice to yourself and go back to the lower setting. Yeah. If it does start to ease or becomes more tolerable, stay with it at the higher setting. Passively allow the low back, the pelvis to really open. The beauty of positions like this with the block that supports you is that you don't have to do the work of opening. You just have to stay with the position long enough for gravity to do it for you. It's the brilliance of both the style of yin and restorative yoga is that if you give it time, everything happens. If you don't give it time, you're going to hit the edge of your sensation. You're going to say, no, thank you. You're going to walk away to go find something else to distract you. Monkey's going to get drunk again. Stay with your breath. Okay, for that state where we are really open to feel our full experience. And through that, the soul will naturally shine through. You don't have to try and find it. You don't have to convince it to stay. You don't have to earn it. Your mind doesn't even have to really behave. There just has to be a willingness and openness to feel. That's Hanuman. Eternal openness. Yourself, take just a couple more breaths where you are. Then gently lift your hips up off of the block, place the block off to the side, let the hips come down to the floor. Pause there for just a moment with the knees bent, feet flat. Then let the knees come in towards the chest, please, stacking the right knee on top of the left. Separate the feet, reach for your ankles or shins, go Mukasana. Nice. And then release the feet, keep the legs crossed, just bring the shins together, and then move your hips to the right and drop your knees to the left. So you're coming into a spinal twist. Right leg should still be on top. Good. And if your knees don't like twisting with the legs wrapped, absolutely just unwind the legs and stack the knees directly on top of each other. And then slowly unwind, come back to center. I know. Then take the left leg on top of the right, stacking the knees, separate the feet, reach for your ankles or your shins. Remembering that if you want your hamstrings to be open and available, you have to also look at your groins. You have to also look at your lower back, your middle back, hips, side waist. So our limitations are not the problem. It's how rigid we become around our limitations that stop us. So to be fearless, to be courageous means that every time you are afraid, engage with whatever is scaring you anyway. Do it imperfectly, do it in a messy way, but do it. Release your feet, squeeze the shins towards each other, and then again, scoot your hips to the left, drop your knees to the right. So the left leg should stay on top. And again, if you need to adjust the way that your legs are in the twist, let your legs adjust. They say that Hanuman at the end of the Ramayana, where everybody else kind of goes on to their liberation, is Hanuman says that he'll stay so that he can continue to sing Ram's name into the world for as long as the world needs it. They say that somewhere in a cave in the Himalayas, Hanuman is there still chanting, still singing to Ram. Come all the way back to center, please. Right? The endless willingness to keep connecting and connecting and connecting. Draw your knees deep in towards your chest, bring your forehead up to meet your knees and squeeze. And then slowly release, bringing the feet to the floor. If you would like to begin your Shavasana in Supine Badakanasana, lovely idea. Maybe you'll even place blocks or blankets underneath your knees so that they're nice and supported. If you do not wish to do that, feel free to just stretch the legs straight out in front of you. If you are coming into Badakanasana, I'm not going to cue you out of it. So if at any point you want to straighten your legs, go ahead and do that. And let yourself just start to drop into the breath and to know that this imperfect moment is the unfolding of the perfect self. And that it doesn't matter what the moment is that this imperfect moment, this one right now, is the unfolding of the perfect self. That every part of you, even the distracted mind, is divine. Complete and whole, made from the same stuff as your soul. Very gently bring the awareness back to the breath. Let your body begin to stretch and move, whatever ways serve it well. And as you feel ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together at the heart center, palm to palm. Like our major leap, Hanuman is also known for that, the leap into the unknown, or the leap where you have no idea where you're going to land. The greatest leap for our mind is that belief that with our own imperfections, with our own limitations, that soul can actually be a true part of us. Our mind struggles to believe that can possibly be real. And so it resists and resists and resists and resists. So if we can breathe that in and realize that the perfection of that soul, or the bigness of that, is not beyond you, it's already inside of you. It is part of this messiness. It's empowering this messiness. And that the messiness that is your life, that is your own experience of yourself, is that is the unfolding perfection. It's not supposed to look one way or another, but it's supposed to always have the openness to continue to expand into itself. That's all we're doing, is learning to be really open. And Hanuman is that. It's that bridge, or that's the one that leaps across the divide from where your mind cannot conceive that it is divine. He helps bridge that gap. And so we turn to Hanuman as that reminder that the soul is not beyond me, the soul is me. And when I really am okay with that, when I really am relaxed about who I am, then the soul naturally shines through. No work is necessary. So we just practice breaking down the resistance, becoming open. But do it nicely with yourself. Give the mind the realization that it's not being put out of a job, it's being given more opportunity to do its job well. To become the superhero that it's always wanted to be. Deep breath in for the sound of Om. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you guys so much. Have a beautiful rest of your night, rest of your week until I see you again. Heads up, I am away this weekend. So Saturday morning, Valerie is subbing my class, and then Sunday, Lauren, our newest teacher, is subbing for me. And then meditation will be led by Linda Farrell. So it'll be on Zoom only, but it is happening. So if you want to pop in for meditation at 11 on Sunday, she'll be leading that. So I will see you guys next week. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Check out, I think this Friday, Seema is giving a talk from India on the Bhagavad Gita. So if you can check in on that, that's an awesome opportunity. And don't forget that Lauren, who's subbing for me on Sunday, does have classes, regular classes on Sunday mornings at 8 a.m. and Thursdays, 7:30. Okay, that's it. Bye.